All right, Cale, thank you. Months after being banned from posting on social media platforms, former President Donald Trump filed a lawsuit against 3 of the biggest big tech companies.
Today, in conjunction with the America First Policy Institute, I'm filing as the lead class representative a major class action lawsuit against the big tech giants, including Facebook, Google, and Twitter, as well as their CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Jack Dorsey.
Joining us now to discuss this lawsuit in further detail is the president and CEO of America First Policy Institute, Brooke Rollins. Brooke, welcome to the National Desk.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
You joined the former president during his announcement about that lawsuit against Facebook, Twitter, and Google. So what is the former president telling you he wants to achieve by all of this?
I did. I was there yesterday in Bedminster, have worked on this case for a couple of months now. America First Policy Institute, which is the organization that I lead, is not litigating the case. We have an entire team of lawyers, former tobacco attorneys, and really some of the best litigators in the country who are actually litigating the case. But what we've worked on with this president, and really as his domestic policy advisor in the White House and working for him 3 years of his 4 years of his first term in his administration, we always knew this was a major issue. And we always knew that, listen, if these companies are going to deplatform the president of the United States, what are they doing to the average everyday American, especially those who believe in the conservative ideas of limited government? So yesterday he filed the lawsuit. What's really interesting, what's important, I think, for your viewers to know is that it's a class action lawsuit. So it's not Donald Trump versus Google or Donald Trump versus YouTube. It's Donald Trump on behalf of what will be thousands upon thousands of Americans who've been censored or deplatformed.
Well, one of the things that the former president brought up was the liability protection that big companies have under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. What is it that he wants to see modified, or the people that fall under this class action suit, as you said, and how can he say that this is unconstitutional?
So obviously the very first amendment that our founding fathers wrote was the right to freedom of speech and the protection of that. We know it is a bedrock of our society. We know that, as Thomas Jefferson and others wrote at the time, the minute that the government can control what you say and what you believe and who you can congregate and who you can worship with, that is the moment that America is no more. And the greatest experiment in the history of governance, which is self-governance, will come to an end. Well, that's what's happening with these big tech companies. They have basically taken control of the public square. They have basically decided which ideas they want to put forward. You know, when they take down your post based on your opinion on whether our schools should be teaching critical race theory, when they decide to ban whether or not you question whether your children should be wearing masks all day in their schools, when they say, oh, can't talk about hydroxychloroquine, can't talk about where the COVID variant actually came from, whether it was lab or not, when they decide that they are the ones who get to choose what Americans are saying and listening to, that is no longer appropriate. And it's a very sort of, a little bit technical argument, but under Section 230, which probably some of your viewers have heard of, that was passed in 1996. At that point, Mark Zuckerberg, I think, was maybe in elementary school.
Brooke, if the president were reinstated on these platforms, would he drop that suit?
I don't believe so. I think that this president, and in fact, I know that he's not really doing this for himself, although he clearly is upset. He's really doing it for the millions of Americans who have been censored by these companies and who have no recourse, right? They don't have the resources.
In the past, though, we've seen social media sites that have removed content that it's deemed incorrect or hate speech or inciting violence. Does former President Trump believe that any type of speech should be reviewed, or should users have a completely open forum to share thoughts, opinions unmonitored? Shouldn't there be some policing at all?
Well, of course, right? I mean, the Supreme Court has said what is appropriate and what is not. I mean, you can't child pornography, human trafficking, which is the original intent of 230, frankly. Obviously, there are some forms of speech that are not okay, that you can't say, oh, well, we're going to do this under the freedom of speech. But what these tech companies have done, have decided what they want America to look like, which is a progressive, concept of, of Democrat-leaning ideas, and then they're censoring everyday Americans that don't agree with them. That's what should not be protected or these companies should not be protected for violating our citizens' rights.
All right, we'll have to see how all of this pans out. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us here on the National Desk, Brooke Rollins. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.